Coming to you live from Digital Address GA 0992539 in Kukamemula Accra, also on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're Joy News on TV. This is Joy News Desk. Coming up, Parliament's Finance Committee to begin deliberation on controversial 1.75 levy laid before it last night. More as government considers options to reduce the cost burden on the Ghanaian taxpayer. Also in this bulletin, Asante Hene rejects sections of the Lands Act 2020 that empowers the citizenry to take chiefs to court to account for land sales. We have details. Also, Adenta municipality tops district league table while Senate West lags behind once again. We'll tell you why. There's business and sports as well as tech talk in this package. My name is Mapisa Sividi. Stay for details.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Thank you for staying with us. In our first story, the Asante Hene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has rejected a section of the Lands Act 2020 that empowers the citizenry to take chiefs to court to account for land sales. The act puts the traditional authority in a fiduciary role over lands and empowers subjects to demand accountability over the use of proceeds from land sale. But the Asante Hene, at a meeting between the Ashanti Region House of Chiefs and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, stated areas under his leadership are exempt in the application of the act. Nana Aljima has more in the following report.
The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Ebujinapo, led a team from the ministry to explain the new Lands Act to the Asanteman Traditional Council. This was at the request of the council. One of the principal issues that came up was the power the new act gives to subjects over the sale of lands. Samuel Ebujinapo explains.
To say Nanano and as tools stand to possess a fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty in anything.
The chiefs are caretakers of the lands. They hold it in trust, so their subjects can demand accountability even in court.
Subject court say, oh, Sebio, senior Akonyano, Anase Nana, Afaso Odisha Assassino, Kutia Marano, Anase on Cheso Kwaya, a Dame Faso, Eba, Emma, and mining. So the fiduciary duty of Nanano, as expressed in this act, it's important that we emphasize on that.
However, the Asante Hene argues otherwise. According to him, the Asante Kingdom has its own systems of accountability over the sale of land, which they hold in trust for his office. He says any suspicion of mismanagement by the Traditional Council is reported to his office for appropriate action. Not all that is printed here is applicable to my jurisdiction. I put chiefs and fetish in charge of the lands. The chiefs are not accountable to any youth. The elders of various chiefs are the people who can call for accountability, and that is when I step in. There is accountability in the kingdom, but not to any individual. The Asante Hene advocates a review of laws regulating mineral resources in the country for purposes of equity in sharing of benefits.
equity no gold na wo ho no e was here no say dia nya Ghana for dia.
Whoever comes to mine in this country must be checked. There is no mechanism to check gold mined from any jurisdiction. This is something we must pay attention to.
Man say be kwai gold wo ho ehia no what ho ne galamsey na better na galamsey netwa yemfa concession wo hin no nsa bi na yenhu se company e betue be kwai man so wo equity say ne wo mu ene one ne nkrofo be sojafo abɔ ba galamsey bi ma hoda.
For Joy News, Nana Yaochima, Kumasi.
Back in Accra, the Adenton municipality in the Greater Accra region has emerged as the best performing district in Ghana on the District League Table 2020. The least performing district was Sene East in the Bono East region. The rankings were based on the performance of the districts in areas of health, education, ICTUs, governance, water and sanitation. These were contained in the document launched. Before we bring you that report, let's speak with the Sene East DCE, Mr. Kofi Jama, for more. Good morning, sir, and thanks for your time.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Now, how do you react to your performance on the latest District League table?
Okay, so thank you very much. Question. My name is Honorable DJ Kopitima. That is not so much Jerome Kopitima. That is my name. And actually, we are in the regional capital for a meeting with the regional minister. It was last night that I had that news. And it wasn't easy for me when I had the news. So let me use this opportunity to thank the people of Senate East and then my party leadership. First of all, I am not privy to how the ranking, what constitutes the ranking. If you can please speak more, so that I will know what and what got to that extent.
All right, so use in ICT, governance, water and sanitation, that all accounts for your performance. So apparently your district performed poorly in those areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say that it's rather unfortunate it happens so, because we don't intend to underserve our people. And I also want to state it on record that I wasn't a DCE up to the time of the measure. I wasn't a DCE. I took over on the 7th of October this year. And so some of the things that happened before me, I will not be able to speak directly or indirectly to them. But then, it's when you inherit an institution, you inherit the liability and the property. So much as I understand, I have taken measures into some of the issues because I wasn't even privy to this one. When I came in, when I take education for instance, when I came in, the first of all, we didn't have money in our family, but because of the news that the education director mentioned to me, their car was broken down. I quickly sent it to Kumasi for the reference, and then they also mentioned of the price of the car, which was also not of the can't be used because it was almost faded. And so I bought 4 sets of tires for them, and then gave them money as when the director wanted to travel and thereabouts. And then I also had a discussion with them that looking at the teacher people's ratio, Senate is still in deficit of teachers. And so when we look at the way other districts have teachers, we don't have that. The reason being that we are in the deprived area, and so when teachers are posted to our district, they run away without staying there more than 3 or 4 years. As we speak, last year, those who were posted, some of them had requested leaving the district because they have other people to help them leave the district. And for that matter, I want to also use this opportunity to approach to the Royal Assembly that they should convince the education minister. Because I had when I came, because of this, I had 3 discussions with him. I went to his office about 3 times.
Yeah.
One was an recruitment of teachers within our jurisdiction. But we realize that when teachers are posted from different districts and they come to our district, they don't stay. Before we realize, all of them will leave the district. So we have decided to recruit those who have gone through distance education, those who have gone through Winneba, Cape Coast, and then Jackson around our place. And we submitted a list. So I did a follow-up again. And I had a nice discussion with the Minister of Education, Honorable Adichim. And I want to use this opportunity to plead on your behalf, use your institution to talk to the minister so that the list that we have given to him, we will consider them. And then I think that when the list is considered, it will help the district because we have, when you get to Senate, we are surrounded by the Senate River and then the Akosomo River. So we are in U-shape of the district. So when people come to our district, it's difficult for them to say because you have to always cross the river.
Okay.
And then our roads are also deplorable. And for that matter, I have sent a request to the Minister of Roads and Transport for them to gravel our feeder roads. Because when
so when did you send this request?
I sent it as soon as I came to office.
Okay. And have you had any response from them?
And I did a follow-up last week.
Okay.
If you ask Deputy Minister, Honorable Jalua, he mentioned it to you. I did a follow-up. And then there was a contractor who was also working on the Pemuase-Tojikofe road. And this contractor had left the place since then. He just started some few areas and he left. And I did try to get the contractor. I went to the ministry. They didn't get me the information. Then I had a list from one assemblyman. We tried calling the contractor, so that I wasn't taken. So when it happened that the teachers travel from town to the interland and then it rains, it's difficult for them to come back or to even come to the office to do their ordinary things, like they want to come for meeting and thereabout. So it's very difficult. So we want to use this opportunity to plead on the government and then the Minister of Roads and Minister of Education so that they'll be able to help us within this. And notwithstanding that, much as I did mention to you, we have also put in place that we are going to have a quiz competition and then a region competition. And that one, I had a discussion with the Education Directorate, and then our company is going to sponsor that. And for that matter, we are going to have a full term, like the way we celebrate the football gala.
Yeah.
So we have the school level, we have the circuit level competition, and then we have the district level competition. And this one is going to be sponsored by the Assembly. And the last resolution of Assembly, all the Assembly members passed that resolution.
Okay.
And for that matter, we are going to work within that. And then we are also putting in place into the second cycle schools that we have, that is the KG Senior High and then the Bata Senior High. When you come to KG Senior High, that is the school I came from.
Yeah.
But when you enter the school, for Bata Senior High, because of the, it's one of the E blocks, and then our government came and completed it. And then the government of Ghana, that is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, had also built ultra-modern dormitory for boys and girls for Bata Senior High. And then they have other facilities. So when you compare Bata Senior High, which has just come, as compared to KG Senior High, you can see that Bata Senior High has a lot of facilities more than KG Senior High. And for that matter, I've also sent a request to the Minister of Education requesting that the abandoned projects in KG Senior High, including the abandoned projects of the Senate, which is supposed to have been completed even last 3 years by GET Fund, they should use his office to convince the GET Fund to come and complete it. I also want to use this opportunity to request on your behalf that you also talk to the Minister of Education and all those concerned who also talk to the Minister of Education for him to listen to us so that the projects that are submitted to him, that they are uncompleted projects, we should, as much as possible, expedite action on them. So that Senate will have a good day. And so when it comes to education level, much as I took over, I didn't say that. I've been in Accra about 3 times on this issue. And I don't swear. So the ranking that we had refers to my predecessor performance, and I have inherited it. I'm putting measures. I wasn't even privy to this one, but I've taken measures to make sure that education will do right. Teachers were also having some accommodation, which was also taken over by that time. With my predecessor education, And I came to also follow that decision. And for that matter, we are asking all the assembly workers to leave and most of them had left, just levels of few of them that we are still working around. Now, yesterday, it's just about, I came here on, that was on Monday, there was a letter from the Education Directorate. So I really speak to the director that I learned we have about 3 or 4 people who are sitting there. I asked them to leave the state to know that education will have its peace of mind to them.
Okay.
So we are actually on the ground and we are working around. On the issue of the water project, some of the projects were done by the central government. And I asked the Assembly Planning and Budget and other technocrats. And they are of the view that when those projects came, they weren't privy to that. And the water system is said that when they dug the well, that is the stamp pipes and then the mechanized boreholes, some of them, the community didn't benefit at all.
Okay.
So I asked why. And it's like the water table is very low. And so they should have dug down, according to what the engineer said. They should have dug down so that we get water. So I've taken all those samples to the Ministry of Local Government.
Okay.
As to how they will help for those projects to be of use. Because as of now, it's just there. It's just it's nothing for the district to benefit from. So the ministry has also taken notice of it. And I think that with the Minister of Local Government, we take interest on it, and very soon they work on it for us to get water. Because already the government has spent on it.
Yeah.
And so the Assembly can no longer go there and then budget for another water to be dug in those places. So those that we have already dug and it's not working, we are putting measures in there. And Assembly had also budgeted that those boreholes that we have in the district, and for that matter, it is not working. The family is going to repair them and then dig additional one. And that one we have already budgeted. So early next academic year, the contractor will come and then come and work on this one. So we are actually putting measures in place to make sure that the people of Senate East benefit from the first stage of the country. And then the ranking that we have found ourselves this year, I bet next year you surprise, Senate East will surprise the country.
Yeah.
And that is what we are putting measures in. So when I came, I'm not sitting down because I knew that there was some shortfalls.
Yeah.
That is why I've been brought.
All right.
So once that I've been brought, I don't need to sit down to look at certain things to go wayward. I'll put measures in place.
Okay, thank you very much. And that is Mr. Jerome Kofi Gyimah, who's the Senate East DCE, and his district ranked least performing in Ghana. Let's now bring you details of this year's District League table. Document launched here in Accra yesterday. Hannah Odami was there for Joy News.
The districts were ranked by the implementation of their annual action plans. Some of them had followed through with their plans, whilst data was inexistent in some of the districts. Governance experts, therefore, want authorities in the various districts to ensure they execute the developmental goals they have set for the benefit of the people.
Just look at the ranking and your score. You could compare yourself to other districts in Ghana. And therefore, in making your budget, you actually know the gap, that this is the area that I'm not doing well. So in preparing my budget, I should concentrate on this area.
One of the indicators used, education, was measured by the transition and completion rates of students. The Gan West Municipal ranked first in its sector, with Ayawaso North ranking the least performing municipal in the same field. The Shai Osudoku district in the Greater Accra region came tops in the health sector with a 77.44% score, with Ablekuma West Municipal scoring the least mark of 3.98%. Access to water and improved sanitation was the third indicator. Here, Adenta Municipal ranked number 1, with the Tiripoli district picking the last position. ICT use and governance were also graded for the 260 districts studied. Research Fellow at CSPC of the University of Ghana, Dr. Kojo Opoku, revealed lots of developmental gaps were identified in terms of access to services and distribution of resources. He, however, believes this can be addressed if resources are equally shared.
For given sectors, some districts that are unexpected, they perform well, did not perform well. So, for example, in the water and sanitation, we know the background of Adenta and how it performs. So that also tells you the implication of interventions.
Dr. Nana Ato Arthur of the Office of the Head of Local Government Services wants citizens to use details of the document to hold their officials accountable.
If today I'm going to argue that there's lack of infrastructure in a particular region or particular district, I don't need to go far. I just take this document. And if I'm going to see Ms. Dufay, have I pronounced it right? Yeah. She has a copy of the document. So she wants to test whether the person coming to see him or her understand the issues that the person is coming with. So if I go and I talk nonsense, it means that I've not even read the document. This document is very good for all of us. Questions that we should be able to ask our leaders. Just pick a copy of this document and it's there.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
To other stories now, the Finance Committee will later today begin deliberations on the controversial electronic transaction levy bill, which was laid on the floor of Parliament last night. Now, the bill, among others, imposes a 1.75% charge on all Momo transaction above a 100 Ghana CD threshold. But it has met some stiff opposition from some Ghanaians, including civil society organization and the NDC, which is demanding a total scrapping of the levy amidst claims it will impose further hardship on the ordinary Ghanaian. Meanwhile, the Information Minister Kojo Oppong Nkrumah says the government is engaging the telecommunications companies to reduce their charges on electronic transactions. According to him, this reduction is to help the government maintain the 1.75% levy and reduce the impact of the tax on the ordinary Ghanaian.
I think the conversation so far has been on how much we can reduce the impact on the everyday Ghanaian and at the same time allow government to mobilize revenue to deliver on its commitments to us. The ever-growing commitments of the Ghanaian population need to be met by government, and it needs to be met not with debt only, but with domestic revenues. Today, the telcos are charging about 2%. Right. If government introduces an additional 1.75, the cumulative effect is 3.75 on the Ghanaian. Now, government has been listening and has been exploring ways by which we can reduce that cumulative effect. And so government has been engaging with the telcos to take a haircut so that if the telcos reduce their 2%, and even if government stays at 1.75, which means that the state is assured of the revenues of the 1.75, the net effect on the Ghanaian will still be lower. So, for example, hypothetically, if the telcos reduce by, say, 0.25, and government still stays at 1.75, that is a net effect of 3.5 as against what would have been 3.75 initially. So these are some of the engagements that we have been doing behind the scenes to ensure that government will still get the revenue, but in the end, the impact on the Ghanaian is watered down.
So the telcos are going to take the hit to support government. Is that what it is?
That's a conversation we are having currently.
And have they agreed to some of these things?
We are very optimistic that we'll get to a positive conclusion.
But there are those who have said that, why don't you wait when there is a finality to this conversation, then probably you can lay the bill. What if you lay with a 1.75 and there is a sudden change, a U-turn from the telcos? Then you further impoverish the ordinary Ghanaian.
You've been in Parliament. The bill has not been laid.
Right, but it's ready to be laid. That's what I've been told.
No, it has not been laid.
To your chairman.
It has not been laid. It has not been laid. So let the conversations finish, let it be laid, and then we'll take it from there.
I see. But Honorable, just a while ago, the Speaker...
On the Speaker's proposal, Kojo says the House would decide whether the Finance Minister should be asked to reappear with his written concessions. He says the leadership of both sides would have to take the time to consider the Speaker's proposals.
I think the conversation so far has been on how much we can reduce the impact on the everyday Ghanaian and at the same time allow government to mobilize revenue to deliver on its commitments to us. The ever-growing commitments of the Ghanaian population need to be met by government, and it needs to be met not with debt only, but with domestic revenues. Today, the telcos are charging about 2%.
Right.
If government introduces an additional 1.75, the cumulative effect is 3.75 on the Ghanaian. Now, government has been listening and has been exploring ways by which we can reduce that cumulative effect. And so government has been engaging with the telcos to take a haircut so that if the telcos reduce their 2%.
In his absence for the last 2 weeks, he is asking the finance minister to reappear before the House with his written concession so that the committees can now reconcile the funds allocated for the various sectors. Is that the suggestion that the finance minister should be held before the House?
I was in the chamber. That was not the impression. The Speaker was quite clear. He said that he has a proposal to make, right, and that this is his proposal. A proposal is a proposal. It's something that is then up for possible consideration and then some consequential decisions, whether that proposal meets the indulgence of the House or not. At this stage, I think Mr. Speaker has only made that proposal. You notice that the leadership did not on the floor respond to that proposal. It may as well be that they may take time to think about it and come to a certain view.
But the minority says that the Speaker's pronouncement is an indication that the entire budget has been rejected, and so if the finance minister appears before the House, there will be a revised 2022.
You were here in the chamber. Right. I did not hear anybody from the minority say this on the floor. I did not hear anybody from the majority say anything on the floor.
Well, I've spoken to ABF Hussein, and that has been his position.
Well, but what people say in private is not the official record of Parliament. So what has happened here is that Mr. Speaker in the chair gave a proposal. That proposal, I noticed that neither of the leaders commented on the proposal. I suspect they'll have an opportunity to think about it, consider it, and if there's a need to make a comment on it publicly, that will be made. But at this stage, you can see that the estimates are being taken on the floor, and we're moving gradually towards working in unison to deliver for our constituents.
So the proposal is government going to consider and ask the finance minister to reappear before the House and go through the process again?
I think if I understood it well, Mr. Speaker made the proposal to Parliament.
Yeah, sure.
And the leadership of both sides are the ones who would have to take some time to consider Mr. Speaker's proposal. And if the House has the view to invite the executive to maybe respond or follow Mr. Speaker's proposal, that would be a view from the House.
As should that be done?
As it stands now, the House, you notice clearly, the House has not made any pronouncements on Mr. Speaker's proposal, so it's still at large.
But in your view, do you think the finance minister should hold before the House once again?
No, it is a matter for the House to consider whether or not the Speaker's proposal is something that it would want to do. I can't purport to decide for the House. I don't think it's proper.
But there are urgent matters, and you're considering the budget estimate. Some say that must be done soon if the minister would appear before. Because if you approve the appropriation, then there will be the need for the minister to appear before the House.
Parliament is a master of its own rules. Right. I think the Supreme Court has even been clear on that. So the House will be the best place to make that determination. Let's not force it down the House. Let the House take a decision.
Thank you very much for your time.
The minority in Parliament says the misappropriation of funds earmarked for the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic lends credence to its calls for a comprehensive probe into the COVID-19 expenditure. Contributing to the budget estimates for the Health Ministry, Ranking Member Kwabena Mintakando alleged government spent a colossal 107 million Ghana cedis for the purchase of face masks, 254 million Ghana cedis for hand sanitizers, and 197 million for the purchase of tissue. According to the Jaboso MP, the Health Minister Kweku Agyeman-Manu should be summoned to the House over his inability to justify the use of the monies.
The Speaker, upon critical look at the COVID expenditure, I was left with no option than to agree with the people who are calling for a bipartisan probe into the COVID expenditure. Mr. Speaker, we realize that if you check the 2022 budget, about 573.41 million Ghana cedis has been allocated as seed money for recapitalization of Development Bank. The Speaker, COVID money, when we are going around looking for money to combat COVID, the Speaker, we are using COVID money for recapitalization of banks. Mr. Speaker, I'm struggling to see the correlation between the establishment of the bank against COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Speaker, again, we looked at the expenditure of about 857.6 million. And some of the items are very, very interesting. Mr. Speaker, I will share a few with this House. Mr. Speaker, we realize that about 107 million Ghana cedis was used to purchase nose mask. 107 million. Mr. Speaker, again, we also realize that about 254 million, and I repeat, 254 million Ghana cedis was also used in purchasing hand sanitizers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the most interesting one, about 187 million was also used in purchasing tissue. 187 million. These are shocking revelations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, again, the interesting one. When the Ghana Health Service was educating people for, restriction of movement and what have you, they had spent about 32 million Ghana cedis on conferences and meetings. Mr. Speaker, this is shocking. So, Mr. Speaker, I know that you agree with me that there should be a proper probe into this matter for us to come to a logical conclusion. Mr. Speaker, again, it must also be put on record that as of the time the agencies were appearing before the committee, we were informed that they had taken delivery of about 13 million doses of vaccines. And out of the 13 million doses of vaccines, what we have procured, what we have bought, what we have used our money for is around 2.7 million doses, which means that about 10 million doses have been given to us free of charge. Mr. Speaker, the interesting aspect is that we were told that we had paid about $147 million to an organization to deliver vaccine to us, and out of the money we were expecting 16.9 million doses, and only 2.7 million doses have been delivered. Which means that, Mr. Speaker, we have about 12 to 13 million doses of vaccines to receive.
Tricycle and motorcycle accidents have resulted in more deaths than any other motor accident in the Volta region. According to the Volta Regional Motor Traffic and Transport Unit, 253 accident cases were recorded involving tricycles and motorbikes, resulting in 57 deaths between 1st January 2021 and 30th September 2021. This development informs stakeholders to engage commercial operators to build their capacity to ensure sanity on the roads and reduce needless deaths.
The Volta Regional Motor Traffic and Transport Unit recorded 253 tricycle and motorbike accidents 2021 and 30th September 2021. Commercial vehicle accident deaths recorded were 56, while private vehicles recorded 18 within the same period. Negligence, minors engaging in riding and disregard to traffic regulations were some factors identified to have contributed to crashes involving tricycles and motorcycles. Speaking at an engagement with a section of the riders, the Volta Regional MTTU Commander, Chief Superintendent Stephen Delaporte, expressed disgust at the disturbing development. He detailed that, though operating commercial motorcycle and tricycle is illegal, the police was lenient and allowed the riders to operate. To reduce road crashes.
Whilst Some people are observing traffic lights. If it is red, they know that it is safe for them to cross. That is the time people wanted to beat the traffic. And respect of road traffic regulations and the side posts. Another say U-turn. Traffic light and the traffic light people are doing. Some of you are doing U-turn over there. Use of reflective jacket and helmets. People are not using it.
The Volta Regional Manager of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, Samuel Lodonu, indicated that his outfit is ready to collaborate and ensure the riders acquire the needed skills and knowledge.
To make matters short, we are ready to assist you. It's obvious you are so ignorant about every education on the road and the road signs. I drive on the road too. There's a special place around the barracks where you are moving from the housing down like this. All the riders overtake to the right. We just want to assist you so that we can at least minimize the road carnage.
The Volta Regional Director of the Road Safety Authority, Engineer Kwesi Yirenchi, advised the riders to endeavor to acquire formal training before engaging in business.
And it looks as if we love death or dead than living. If you see the way we do things, I hope that going forward we shall change our ways. And we can only change our ways when we go for formal training. That is the only way we can change our ways.
Yes, the manual riding, it is a major concern. But it's like some of the manual riding, they ride their own parent motor. So it's difficult for us to control it. I think the authority also have noticed this. We appeal for the authority to do this work to bring sanity on the road.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
You're still watching Joy News Desk with me, Mapisa CB. I'm going to take a quick breather. When I come back, it's time for Tech Talk, so don't go anywhere.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Welcome back to Joy News Desk, and it's time for Tech Talk. Kobe Spike and Nkrumah joins me. Kobe, good morning.
Good morning, Maps.
This is a different setup for us.
Yeah, we're usually standing.
Yeah, we're usually standing doing Joy News Interactive. It's been a while. You okay?
I'm 100%.
All right. So Instagram, one of my favorite social media apps is, kind of calculating our whole year or rounding up our whole year with our stories. Tell me about that.
So you do use Spotify, don't you?
Yeah.
So you know how Spotify, at the end of the year, they do the Spotify app where they show you all the songs you've been listening to, your favorite genres and things.
Yeah.
It seems to be trending. So Instagram has jumped on that bandwagon, letting you do a recap of all your stories for the year in review.
Okay.
Now it's called Playback. So basically you're playing back your 2021 stories, but it requires that you should have posted enough stories to be able to get a playback.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a very interesting thing. I'd like to see, it tickles that nostalgia, all the past things
you've done, yeah.
You probably forgot and you see, oh yeah, I remember this time.
It's like the same thing with Snapchat. When Snapchat says a year ago, this is what you were doing 5 years ago. And it's just like, oh wow, is that me?
Yeah, you changed so much.
Yeah,
and they've also included a new feature that allows you to reply to Instagram messages with Reels after 60 seconds, which is very interesting because Reels until now were only available to watch, but now I can send you a Reel as a response to something you've sent to me. And then finally, if you have your own website and you'd like to embed your Instagram profile on your website or your blog, you can actually do that. The same way you can embed an Instagram post, now you can embed a whole Instagram profile on a blog or a website.
All right, so I'm on my Instagram right now.
Right.
How do I activate the playback? Because I can't see it.
It requires you to have certain, enough stories.
Enough stories.
Yes.
Oh, so does that mean that
like you're seeing on the screen over there?
Okay.
On playback.
So that means I don't have enough stories. Hey, how?
Yeah,
okay.
so you don't have enough.
Okay.
Hopefully it will come.
Hopefully
if
it will come.
generates enough, it will come.
All right.
Yeah.
Now
I know I don't have, so I'm not.
So you won't even try. Okay. Now I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh, this woman was sleeping.
Yeah.
And then the boyfriend forced to open. I don't understand what is going on in China.
Not only China, Maps, you're using an iPhone, right? How do you unlock your phone?
Oh, I don't want. Well, I actually don't have a password.
You don't have a password.
Yeah.
You should have a password. If someone snatches your phone right now, it's gone.
Actually, I'm about to go get a password because.
You're going to get a password from where?
I'm about to create it right now. Okay, so what happened?
So basically, if your iPhone, to unlock it, just like my phone as well, I look at it with my mask off, obviously, it would unlock. And with the iPhone, it uses your irises and your face. And so when you're asleep, it wouldn't open.
Yeah.
That's how come people cannot show your phone to your face while you're sleeping to try and unlock it.
Yeah.
But this guy, his girlfriend was unwell. His ex-girlfriend actually was unwell. He gave her some food and some medicine and she was knocked out. And he forced her eyelids open, showed the phone to her face, so she woke up. Not that she woke up, so to the phone, she's awake, and then transferred money from her Alipay. So pretty much if you were using like a banking app or something that
or like
required
an Apple Pay type of thing.
Apple Pay thing, where you're using your face as your security or your fingerprints. So because she was knocked out cold, put the fingerprint, put the face, unlocked, and then sent himself $24,000.
So what is the lesson there?
The lesson there is that
don't date random people that will steal your money.
Well, there's that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's also very, very good to have two-factor authentication.
Okay.
Yeah.
So two-factor authentication, and don't date random people that will open your eyes when you're sleeping and steal all your money. Thank you very much, Kobe Spike.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to take a quick breather. We'll be back with more.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Government has retreated its commitment to supporting the beverage industry through appropriate policies. According to Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Michael Oshibeffi, government is implementing initiatives to cushion small and medium enterprises as part of the industrialization agenda. He, however, says these benefits will only apply to companies that sign up under government's flagship programs, including One District, One Factory. He spoke at the launch of this year's Ghana Beverage Awards. Ghana's commercial beverage industry has become increasingly competitive in recent years, and several small producers have entered the market, with growth driven by urbanization, increased brand awareness, and a growing middle class. The industry has been earmarked for expansion under the government's One District, One Factory industrial transformation program. A Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Michael Oshibeffi, has echoed government support to the industry provided they sign up under the flagship programs.
Those in the 1D1F industrial space have certain incentives like 5 years tax holiday. But if you are a 1D1F company, you are exempted from the payment of corporate taxes for 5 years. You are also exempted from the payment of import taxes. Those who also seek loans from our participating financial institution we call PFIs, government also subsidizes the interest, 10% of the interest for you, so that at least you'll be able to breathe and work well.
Global Alliance Media, together with the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, launched this year's Ghana Beverage Awards. Speaking on the sidelines, Deputy Minister for Tourism, Mark Okwekumante, emphasized the importance of the beverage industry to the tourism sector.
The tourism industry cannot survive without the beverage industry or the beverage fraternity. It is so because tourists, whether it's domestic or international, would be at a place, you want to eat, and when you eat, you drink either water, some soft drink, or alcoholic beverage. And so these are some of the variables in the value chain of selling tourism. And so we cannot behave like the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture if not recognizing the beverage industry, because they play a very important role.
This year's event is themed Inspiring Excellence in Ghana's Beverage Industry. And that's all for business. Sports is coming up next.
Hello, I'm Dori Nando. You can catch up with all the fun on the Cosmopolitan Mix and on all our shows via podcast. Just go to My Joy Online podcast and search for your favorite show and relive those moments all over again. Only on Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Super Hits Radio, Joy 99.7.
It's time for sports with Muftau. Nabil, how you doing?
It is Nabila.
Hey, Nabila. Sabila, Shambhala.
It's Nabila.
Okay,
do you know what it means?
Please, we don't have time. Director shouting in my ear. It says 2 minutes. GFA says what?
Yes, they're having a meeting with clubs today. 48 Division 1 League clubs have been invited to the Secretariat of the Football Governing Body. They want to discuss the new football pyramid. The clubs claim that about 30 league clubs are going to be demoted to Division 2 effective 2022-2023 season. And because of this, most of the clubs have had to put together a resolution demanding Extraordinary Congress to review parts of the statutes of the Ghana FA. But the FA have said that many people have been misinformed, and then they are inviting these clubs to a meeting at 11 a.m. today to discuss the new pyramid. What they are saying is that they are going to develop what they call a Super League that will have 18 clubs compete in the Super League. The clubs that compete in the Division 1 at the moment, the teams that are from 13th to 18th, these teams are going to drop to a regional championship and not a Division 2. And this is what the FA wants them to understand. Many of them are questioning why the FA is coming out with a Super League that would have about 30 Division 1 clubs drop to the regional leagues, and the FA is going to offer them some explanation in regarding that. There are also questions about how it is going to be funded. This will serve as an opportunity for the Ghana Football Association to educate these clubs how they are going to fund the Super League and the regional championships and all that. 106 clubs, 60 clubs are expected to compete in the regional league, whilst 18 clubs will compete for the Super League.
Okay. Last night, someone was asking me about the AFCON and if I'm going. Are we going to Cameroon?
Well, it's 99% certain that that would happen because CAF insists that they do not have any issues. There were reports from the European media claiming that CAF is considering cancelling the competition. The head of media relations for CAF last September has denied these claims. The CAF General Secretary, Vero Mosongo Amba, have also denied these claims and have said that they are working to ensure that the tournament starts on January 9th. So there are no questions as to whether CAF will be organizing the African Cup of Nations or not.
Okay, all right. Muftau, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to give you this opportunity to end Joy News Desk for us.
On this note, we say thanks everyone for joining us for Joy News. We appreciate your company this morning. Continue to enjoy the rest of our programs.
All right, thank you so much. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com.